Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist. So I was asked about a movie that's currently in Netflix called The Decline. It's like a prepper survivalist movie, and some folks ask, hey, have you seen it? What do you think about it? Do a little review about it. So this is it, my review of The Decline on Netflix. The movie is brand new. I think it's from 2020, so it's a new movie about survivalism, and it's okay. If you haven't seen it, just have some time to kill like most folks have these days. I'd give it like a 50%, solid 50%, maybe 60 if you're a little bit generous. It's not a super complex movie. It's pretty straightforward, and it keeps you entertained, which is the point of a movie, right? And it is about survival and survivalists and preppers. The movie starts with a guy who has a daughter and a family, a wife, and he wakes up in the middle of the night and he goes bugging out, and he's timing the family, how well everyone reacts. I'm not ruining anything. That's like the first couple of minutes of the movie. So, and he's like the good guy, the normal guy that is still interested in survival and preparedness, and he's watching on YouTube a guy that has a channel on YouTube, and he's following his advice and such, and he ends up going to a class of this guy with a few other folks, and that's where the movie goes on. It's kind of like a thriller. The movie is okay. It's worth watching. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It's not great or anything, but worth your time. One of the things I was asked was, what's my opinion on how it portrays preppers? Kind of poorly, really, because at the end of the day, other than the first guy, which is still a little bit of a cuckoo, the other guys are the typical stereotypical prepper, nutcase, paranoid type of folks, or people with problems or chip in their shoulder or whatever it is, but it's not normal people. Maybe the more normal one would be the first one, but he still goes and falls for some of the typical stereotypical aspects of it. So yeah, it shows and portrays preppers in general kind of in a poor light, but it's typically what you expect from Hollywood, from TV shows, that sort of thing. That's typically what, even in reality TV, they're never going to be showing normal people. They always try to show the paranoid. Now, in the prepper community, you have all sorts of folks. Like in all walks of life, you have people of all kinds, and you have super normal people, and you have a little bit more of a nutcases. Yes, you do have those as well. I actually know a few very. And this is something that I've seen over the years. I've been in this for quite some time. Sometimes you come across some of these prepper community leaders, and it's kind of gets mixed with some religious cult aspects of it, and it gets very strange very fast, and it's the kind of thing you avoid, or at least I avoid like the plague. I really want nothing to do with that. You see that all the time. The thing is, it sticks out like a sore thumb, while the other 100 or 300 people in the forum or in the community just go about their business, and they're just not sticking out like that. But you have weird folks as well. These movies focus on those weird people. Now, if you haven't watched the movie, this is a point in which I would suggest stop watching this video, go watch it, go watch the movie, and then come back to it. Now, if you've seen the movie already, let's go on. The movie is fine. It's simple enough, and it's entertaining enough, which is kind of the idea. The leader of the prepper, well, the guy that has the homestead where these guys are taking the course, would be your typical nutcase, worrying about the end of the world. And at some point everyone is talking about, yes, because when there's the economic collapse, when there's the pandemics, and when there's this and that. Now, I've gone through an economic collapse. We're currently going through a pandemic. The world still does not end. Those of you guys that have been in my channel for a few years now know that I just don't believe in that stuff. The way I see it, life is what it is, and you can just prepare for some of the more negative aspects a little bit better than the average guy, and that's going to be making your life a little bit easier. There's things in life that are just unavoidable. you prepare for those. And surprising that many times many preppers don't prepare for those. Even the preppers in that movie, the survivalists in the movie, clearly haven't prepared for life, and they failed at life. Especially the guy that was supposed to be the leader and example, and the instructor, the prepper instructor, had failed at life, and he was trying to instruct the other guys on how to prepare. That is unfortunately very common in the survival and prepper community as well. You see guys that are unable to function in our society, and still they are, I guess, teaching others how to live and survive. I mean, if you're going to be surviving, you're going to be living as well. If you fail at living, then there's really not a lot that you can teach. Sure, you can teach how to, connect a few tubes and put like a irrigation system and have a garden, and that's all fantastic. But the more nitty-gritty, important stuff, maybe that's not the kind of person you want to be taking advice from. Then, of course, they blow up the gun aspect of preparedness in a negative way. It's being portrayed. Then they start building bombs, which kind of catches you by surprise, because that's pretty much illegal anywhere in the world. Making pipe bombs is just not something that normal people or even normal survivalists would be doing in an activity that you would be engaging in. It is true that the movie makes a great point about how dangerous and stupid doing those sort of thing is, because one of the guys ends up blowing up in a very dramatic and very well done scene. By the way, it's actually very realistic how a person blows up with explosives. There's not a fireball or anything. It's just boom, and just bits of people blow up, blow in all directions. So that's actually a very good scene. Yeah, again, very straightforward movie, kind of showing that preppers are all nutcases or not all that functional type of folks, or people with issues. What kind of misses the movie for me is the final scene, in which the girl power scene, in which 80-pound woman beats the crap out of a 200-pound guy who's a survivalist, trained in combat, and has a knife. And for whatever reason, this 80-pound soaking wet little girl ends up beating the crap out of a guy who doubles or triples her weight. Weight classes exist in combat sports for a reason. A guy that's a heavyweight cannot fight a featherweight. There's just no combat there. It's just a massacre. It's just a very big person smashing on a smaller individual. Now, if you make that a woman and a man, that's even worse, and it's downright ridiculous. That's as bad as when someone gets shot and they just go flying, flipping over the air because they got shot with a handgun, and you go, oh, come on, man. Couldn't anyone advise people doing this movie? No, you don't fly through the air if you got shot with a 9mm or any handgun at all. Well, this is kind of that sort of thing. You have this tiny, skinny, very fit little little lady that I'm sure she's great at whatever she does, and she may know the different type of combatives, and that's all great, but she's not going to be beating the crap out of a guy that triples her weight. And certain scenes are even ridiculous, because you see this huge dude and this tiny little lady, and she's supposedly throwing him around like a rag doll, and just physically impossible. Guys, women are not the same. Women, even at equal weight, a man is going to be about 30-40% stronger because of the amount of muscle that he has in that same weight category compared to a woman. So that scene is kind of stupid, and you go like, oh, that kind of sucks. That would have been avoided, and find some other solution in which a smart woman, instead of using her muscles, which she clearly has not enough so as to achieve that, uses her brains and finds a way of beating the bad guy. That would have been something that would have been a little bit better. That's it, guys. If you like the movie, let me know in the comments. Now, if you're looking for another movie, there's another one that's quite good. It's called The Survivalist. Just like that. It's called The Survivalist. It's from 2017, I think. It's filmed in Northern Ireland. And actually, it's filmed in a couple places that I know very well. It's actually filmed in one place. I think it's a forest called Crawfordsburn. I know it well because there's not that many forests in Northern Ireland. There's like 2 or 3. So it's Tollymore, Crawfordsburn, and a couple others. others, and they're all super tiny. So you do get to know them very well in just a single day. In the movie, it is filmed in a way in which you don't realize any of this. Maybe I'm kind of screwing the movie for you. No, it doesn't affect the plot in any way, but all those scenes in which you see people running through forests, there's not that big of forest anywhere in Northern Ireland, but that film was done in one that I know rather well. And it's a beautiful place, fantastic place, but it's tiny. It's not as huge as it's being shown in the movie. But the movie is quite good. It's very hardcore, rough, and a little bit strong. It's not a family movie by any means. I think it's rated R actually, but it's very well achieved, kind of like the desperation and misery of an extreme survival end of the world scenario, right? How it would play out maybe. So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed my little review, and go watch that movie if you're looking for something else. See you in our next video. Have an awesome day.